It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Got a room full of experts, and as a result, I've had two handouts that I'd like all of you, as much as possible. I didn't bring enough copies, but maybe you can share. At the end of the rows, I left a two-page document that is an outline of a report that we're working on, and it's four pages long, so it's a pretty detailed one. And then the other document is a two-sided, one-page document that provides a data citation survey, and I ask that you fill out either here or later and return it, or give me your email and I'll send you an electronic copy. But we will talk about all this later. This is going to be an interactive session. And I'll give a little background about what these activities are and introduction of what's going on. So, to start with, I have good news, and that is that I'm not contagious, but the more I speak, the more I cough. So that's the bad news. So bear with me. The other thing I'd like to say is that my co-author on the slides, Dan Cohen, who works with me, he's not here, but he can get all the credit, and I'll take all the blame. So we have a major project on data citation and attribution that we're managing from my office at the National Academy of Sciences National Research Council. The first organization that's involved in this project, it's a two-year project, is CODATA Task Group on Data Citation Standards and Practices. CODATA is a non-governmental interdisciplinary scientific committee that is based in Paris, and is a member of ICSU, which is the International Council of Unions, International Council for Science, which is also a non-governmental umbrella organization based in Paris. And CODATA has been around for about 45 years. And the second organization, BIRDI, the Board on Research Data and Information, which I direct, is a board at the National Academy of Sciences, and is also the home of the U.S. CODATA Committee, which is the U.S. representative to the international CODATA. And so this is important because part of the project that we did is actually National Academy of Sciences part, which actually Joe was talking about just before. And but the overall project is run by this CODATA task group. It's international, and I and some other people staff both activities. We're grateful for funding from the Sloan Foundation, the Institute for Museum and Library Services, the Library of Congress, and CODATA provided some travel support, as did Microsoft Research. Well, I should point out that the Library of Congress is actually in-kind support, which is quite substantial. It funds Dan Cohen, who is my co-author, to work with me at the Academy. And so it's providing staff support. The CODATA, the International Data Citation Task Group has quite a few members, and you can't read all this, but what's important is that we try to be representative geographically and discipline-wise, and also the co-chairs, the three co-chairs, are Jan Braza, who is the Executive Director of DataCite and in Germany, and also a representative of ICSTI, which is the International Council for Scientific and Technical Information, and which supports the CODATA task group. The second co-chair is Sarah Callahan, who is representing the United Kingdom CODATA, and and one of the atmospheric data centers. And the third co-chair is Bonnie Carroll, who many of you probably know, and she's the president of the Information International Associates in the U.S. She is a member of the BIRDI and also the U.S. National Delegate to CODATA. And the other members, I won't go through all of them, but they're from different countries representing different areas of expertise. The deliverables of this two-year project are quite ambitious, and we're moving pretty well along on all of them. One is to do inventory, kind of a bibliographic inventory of the literature and the initiatives worldwide. And we have a MLIS student who's actually a student of Susie Allard's at University of Tennessee, and she's that's Irene Socha, and she's putting together this annotated bibliography and extracting the relevant information. We also are speaking to a lot of data repository people who are both on the task group as well as who spoke at the August symposium that Joe mentioned, and through the questionnaire. We're beyond the data repositories. We are talking to different stakeholders. So, for example, we have the research funders, the publishers, the university community, and research community, and the data centers, so that we get a comprehensive kind of look at what different stakeholders in the research system think of data citations and how they approach it. We're providing an international forum and a web presence, so you can find our activity on the CODATA website. We're holding a series of meetings and workshops. The first meeting, which I'll talk in some detail, was the one in Berkeley last August, and then we have two more scheduled this year, one in Copenhagen, one in Taipei. And we have two reports that are coming out this year. The first one is the National Academy of Sciences report that Joe was part of the working group on, and that will be published in a couple months. And that is essentially a collection of presentations and summary of the breakout groups. And then we have a white paper that I'll also be speaking about briefly, and that is looking at a kind of a survey of practices throughout the world in data citation and attribution. And that will be published at the end of the calendar year. And so we're hoping to promote scientific data attribution through all these mechanisms, at the end of this two-year period, we're probably going to, we've applied for an extension of 2 years and looking at best practices and possibly standards in this area. This was a statement of task. I don't expect you to read this. We will post the slides on the conference website. But this was a statement of task for the symposium and workshop in Berkeley that we already mentioned, and that is going to be the topic of the report that's coming out from the Academy in 2 months. And that is basically was an attempt to lay the groundwork for the international task group in bringing together practitioners and policy people and experts in different areas of citation, whether it's technical or policy or institutional, and have them present their views and have a vigorous discussion on it. And so we had about a two-day meeting in August in Berkeley on these questions. And we broke it up into a number of sessions, as you can see, and I'm not going to go through those. These were the presenters and the moderators. The steering committee for this particular meeting was appointed by the U.S. Academy, and it's different from the membership in the International Task Group. The International Task Group was the cooperating organization, and we invited a lot of experts from the different areas to give those presentations. In the International Organization Task Group, we have also liaisons with a lot of other organizations that are active. This is a fairly comprehensive list, not full. DataCite is one of the organizations that is clearly a major partner and one of the co-chairs. And so we want to work with DataCite in supporting their more active, their implementation of data citations internationally. We're providing a lot of the background information, the intellectual underpinnings, if you will, of this topic. And then there are a lot of other organizations like the Dataverse Network, NISO, GBIF, World Data System, and Digital Curation Center in the UK, and other organizations that are engaged also in implementing different data, similar data citation approaches, but in different disciplines and different organizations and different countries. And therefore, part of our goal is to try and help standardize these approaches in a way that the international research community can coalesce around a preferred approach, presumably through DataCite, and we'll start implementing this on a broader scale. And that's why we also are reaching out to the stakeholders in the funding community, in the publishing community, because we see these people as not just motivators, but also implementers in their own right, whether they are doing it as part of their policy in funding or as part of their policy in accepting research papers through publishing, like genomics or proteomics, where the community got together and basically said, you have to deposit your data in such and such a place before we will publish your paper. And so presumably such an approach might work with data citation as well, although I'm definitely getting ahead of myself. But this is one particular approach that might work in implementing this kind of activity more broadly. This is a schedule of activities for the international group, and so we've completed the workshop in August. We're well along the way on the bibliographic inventory and analysis. We're starting with these interviews, which you have a paper copy of one. There are 4 stakeholder groups. This one is focused on research community. We also are reaching out to the data repository managers, the research funders, and the publishers. And so we're holding a series of interviews with these people, and I really would like your input from the research community perspective, although if you are representing a data repository or some other stakeholder group, then let me know and I will send you the appropriate questionnaire to fill out. We've developed an outline for the International Task Group of this white paper on current practices in data citation, which also you have here, and which I hope that you would comment on either after this presentation or subsequently in the next day, because we're trying to get as much well-informed views as possible. What we have planned, excuse me, I've already mentioned some of this, but we will publish a report of the International Task Group at the end of the calendar year. We'll hold two meetings, two drafting meetings, one co-located with DataCite in Copenhagen in June, and one co-located with the International CODATA Conference in Taipei, which I hope all of you will contribute to and join. And we'll hold a sponsored session at the CODATA Conference in Taipei and actively disseminate this first phase of both reports. We hope in the next year after this, or 2 years, to do a white paper on best practices that kind of extracts the top, or not the best practices, good practices, as Bill Anderson reminded me, good practices of data citation and we'll be building on the work we've done in the last 2 years. And these are the headers of the white paper outline that I've distributed here. The importance, obviously, as an introduction, the current use of data citation. There's quite a few disciplines that have implemented data citation practices, whether the earth sciences through ESIP here that Carol was talking about earlier, or GBIF, the Global Biodiversity Information Facility in Denmark, which is hosting actually our meeting in Copenhagen, DataCite, and others. The International Union of Crystallography actually is very far along in this regard and has implemented a data citation mechanism along with its publishing in its journals. So a lot of kind of bottom-up activity has happened in data citation in different disciplines and different institutions, but it clearly has not trickled to the top. And you know, at some point, we'll want the funders and the university administrators to work with the community from the bottom up, and to develop guidelines and policies that will implement data citation and will go a long way, we think, towards kind of the Rodney Dangerfield of science, which is data work. And so I welcome your questions, your comments, your suggestions, and please take a look at the outline of the report and of which is very much a draft, but which we will start working on in the next few weeks. And take a look at the questionnaire, and if you want, give me your email address, and I'll send you an electronic version, or fill it out and give it to me tomorrow. Thank you. This is